Hey folks, it's been a warm one across the valley again. No real surprise in that. The wind has been pretty gusty across the area as well. Let's start with temperatures and we'll take a look at the winds. These are the currents. Everybody except Rio Grande City in the 80s. Rio Grande City's at 91, but everybody else 80s. The coolest reading at the coast, about 80 at South Padre Island right now. Here the wind gusts this last hour. We're still looking at anywhere from 21 to 32, the gustiest at the coast. Port Isabel at 32 miles an hour, so it's still a gusty afternoon. And if we look at Future Track suggests that by about midnight, winds are dying down a little bit, 10 to 12 miles an hour. And by tomorrow morning, you're looking at 8 to 10, so a relatively calm morning across the area. And then by afternoon, it picks up, but not as much as today. That wind tomorrow out of the southeast at 10 to 20 miles an hour for the most part during the day. So breezy, but not as windy as what we saw today. Temperature-wise tomorrow, we're hot again, 90 plus in most areas. Keeping an eye out for a stray thunderstorm in the western part of the valley late in the day. The island only 81 degrees. If you look at the next 3 days, 89 is the norm. We're going 91, 93, 91. So not records, but above average as we head through the rest of the week. Look at all those big storms up to the north of us. We'll talk more about that in just a minute or two. They got hit hard in central Texas today. Tornadoes reported just east and northeast of San Antonio, east southeast of Austin as more thunderstorms move through that area. But here, real spotty stuff. You might have picked up a brief sprinkle, might have needed your windshield wipers for a few minutes. Big storm system to the north. That's that dip in the upper level wind flow where you see the line come down and go back up. That's an upper level storm system sitting right in here, and that's what's triggering all the rain in Texas today and triggered spotty showers in the valley today. Well, as we go forward, that lifts out. It's out of here. But notice the yellow line, just that little bumpy flow. Each one of those is a storm system, but they're much, much smaller than the one that is here today. They're enough to trigger showers, but not as big and bad as what we saw in central Texas today. And even as far south as we are, we can see spotty stuff. But if that yellow line was down here over the valley, we'd see a lot more active pattern. But as we look ahead, this is Wednesday afternoon, and there's still all kinds of little bumps. Even in the line that's over us, you see little bumps in that line as well. And that means there's little disturbances coming out of Mexico, and every time that happens, we have a slight increase in the rain chance. Maybe 10 to 20%, but that's about it. Not much more than that through the rest of the week. But look at Friday. Another big storm system drops into the southwestern part of the country, northwest Mexico. With that, clouds will start to increase, and where that ends up will determine our fate for the weekend. The suggestion is it gets down to about El Paso and triggers rain out ahead of it across a lot of Texas Friday, and then by Friday night and Saturday, some of those showers and storms reach as far south as we are, all the way down here in the bottom of Texas. But that low doesn't come down here. It stays north of us, so the most active weather would be farther north. We would see some, but the biggest stuff stays north of the valley. By Sunday, that starts to lift out, but notice there's still rain behind. That's because we still have a big dip back over here, kind of a piece of that gets left behind over Texas Sunday, and it's kind of still around on Monday, so our chance of rain doesn't go completely away, even into early next week. So as you look at the 7-day rain chances, we hold at 20% the next couple of days because of the little bumps in that wind flow. By the time you get to Friday and Saturday, that big storm system digs in and rain chances jump 40, 60%, and then back to 50 on Sunday. But we don't see a dry day until Tuesday of next week, and even that is questionable. So this is the way the weekend looks. Breezy and warm on Saturday with scattered storms likely, scattered being the key word, and then scattered isolated stuff left over on Sunday. At the coast, the same basic forecast, but about 10 degrees cooler as you are surrounded by the nice mild waters of the Gulf. Speaking of the coast, here's what's going on there tomorrow. Winds out of the southeast 10 to 20. The bay's a little choppy. UV's extreme. Small craft advisory in effect. So tonight, 75 for your low. Could be a brief shower, but for the most part, it's dry. And then a spotty storm possible tomorrow. Your chance of rain stands at about 20%. Your high tomorrow, 91. We jump into 93 on Thursday. We come back to 91 on Friday as the rain chance increases, stays with us through the weekend and into the early part of next week. So a slight chance of rain the next couple of days, a better chance by the time we get to the weekend. And oh, by the way, we're keeping an eye on the tropics. We'll talk more about early season development out in the Atlantic. Not coming here, but early season development out in the Atlantic. We'll talk about that in the next half hour.